in relation to any issues not on the agenda?
Thank you, Drew. In that case, let's proceed with the pre-post hearing agenda.
Okay, I'm going to skip over the first one because that's going to involve an extended conversation relative to the Willow Bend Golf Course. So the next item up is discussion vote for a request for an endorsement of the town meeting warrant article regarding the acquisition of Gooseberry Island.
Drew, thank you. And for the commission, I would like to offer a couple of items to consider. One, this is not a hearing that we normally schedule. With hearings, we would typically have an opportunity for the audience to chime in. I'm going to ask that we not hear any of this tonight, since this is simply an endorsement that we are sending to the town. The second item, Brian, are you with us? I'm not sure I see your cam because I'm not very good at Zoom.
Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm waiting for the host to let me into the Zoom.
I just let you in, Brian.
All right.
Beautiful. So, Brian, we're discussing Gooseberry Island, which you're more than familiar with. You have a decision to make tonight, but I'd personally like to ask you that as a member of the Wampanoag tribe that has pending litigation involving this parcel, I'd ask you to consider recusing yourself for this vote.
Okay. Can I just something before we move on to the recusal?
Absolutely, and it's your choice again.
Yeah. So I just want to bring to the commission's point, per the chairman, that it is at the discretion of myself. However, out of respect for this position and out of respect for the residents of the town and the selectmen who appointed me to be here today, I did get a preliminary advisory from the State Ethics Commission, and I'm waiting to fill out a form, where that is. I did get a preliminary decision, like I had said. I'm not really going to discuss that, I guess, at this point in time, just because I think we should wait and see, what the State Ethics Commission has to say in regards to this matter of conflict of interest, as they're the ones that should make the final decision. So out of respect for myself and the town residents in the town who I serve first and foremost, I'd like for this issue to be tabled until we can resolve that with the State Ethics Commission.
If I can just interject, Brian, you are aware this is the last meeting before the town meeting occurs?
What was that?
This is the last meeting of the Conservation Commission before town meeting occurs.
Yeah, I understand that, but I also there's some other issues around this item, and it's probably going to be moved to the Springtown meeting.
Okay.
So I don't really see it as a pressing issue at this time.
Okay.
So once again, I'd like to, wait until we can get, clarification from the Ethics Commission. But it also boils down to my ethical integrity, and that's something that I don't take very lightly. I serve on very
Brian, we're having a hard time hearing you. You have to.
Town, and I did take an oath to uphold the tribe's constitution. However, I did take an oath to do this job faithfully and impartially to the best of my ability, and that's what I would like to do, and give, the residents and the elected officials who appointed me that equal opportunity as well.
Thanks, Brian. Can you, just for future vocal considerations, bring yourself closer to the microphone? We're having a hard time hearing all of that.
There's a lot of wind. I think it's coming from you, Brian, but I'm not sure. Did we lose him?
I don't know if he's still on, but he did request that this matter be tabled.
Is there anyone else in the commission that would like to add anything to this discussion? No. Well, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to table this to the next meeting.
I don't think you need a motion, Chad. I think it's just, you can just agree that, if you want to take a motion, go ahead. It's a non-hearing agenda item, so.
All right, no need to pollute the works. Drew, if, at the request of Mr. Whedon, could we suspend delay this to the next conservation meeting.
They're going to delay the entire discussion. They're not even going to talk about it. So.
Yeah, they're delaying the entire discussion and they're not going to talk about it at this meeting.
Sorry, we have someone on the line who's inquiring about this particular topic, so we're just dealing with that right now. Chad, you as the chairman have the authority to table this matter. You don't need to make a motion or take a vote. It's you as the chairman, your discretion. After you've gotten feedback from the commission, if there's no other comments, you can just make that ruling.
Very well. Then, Drew, please table this till our next agenda, our next scheduled hearing.
Will do. Thank you. I think we can move on to the first hearing. And if you just give me a moment to bring up the attendees, and then I'll give you the green light to proceed.
Hey, Drew, do you have a quorum now, or when do you need me to vote on?
Let's see, we have Brian, Chad, Paul, and Tom. So we have a quorum now, Steve.
Okay, so you don't need, just let me know when you need me to vote, okay?
Okay, we do need you to stay because Chad may need to leave early depending on the timing of this meeting, so we do need you to stay throughout the meeting.
Yeah, no, I'll stay. I just need to know, you guys just let me know which hearing, when you need me to vote and
Will do.
participate in the vote part of it, you know.
Will do.
I'll listen to everything and I'll ask any questions as we go along. So.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I'm just in the process of admitting the attendees for the first hearing, and I'll let you know, Chad, when that's done.
Thank you, Drew.
Sure. Okay, I think, just give me a moment here. I see Barry Fogel is on. Barry, can you hear us? Barry, can you hear us? Barry Fogel, are you on the line? Craig Robert, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can. We're just waiting for Barry.
I got you. I didn't realize I had to go through the phone to do the audio. Can you hear me?
We can now, Barry.
Sorry, I was using the audio on the computer.
Yeah. Okay. Chad, we're ready to open the hearing.
Very well.
Sorry about that.
Stand by one. Now calling the 6 o'clock hearing for Spca Incorporated, 15 Metacomet Road. Permit for existing pier, ramp, and slope structure. Now, this is continued from 9/10 for the applicant to communicate with the harbor master and submit revised plans showing moorings located within 75 feet. This is an NOI.
Yes, good evening. Barry Fogel from Keegan Whirlin on behalf of the applicants. So indeed, as you mentioned, we did use the time between the last hearing and tonight to revise the plan, and there should be a sketch plan. There it is. And up in the upper left-hand corner, the distances to the nearest moorings were identified. This plan was shared with the harbor master, and we communicated with him, the president of the association and the chairman of the dock and dinghy committee. And I understand that there's been a series of correspondence between them, and then also that was shared with Drew that indicates that all of the harbor master's questions were addressed and that he has no objections to this proposal. With that, we're prepared to answer any questions members of the commission may have or Drew may have, but beyond that, we request approval.
Thank you very much. Drew?
Yeah, just to add on to what Barry said, additionally, the harbor master has no issue with the number of dinghies to be stored on this dock structure. He conversed with the association who's taken over all management of this, including dinghy storage and docking at this facility, and he is 100% satisfied with how they're going to handle things moving forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Drew.
Sure.
Questions from the committee members, the commission? Hearing none, go ahead.
I'm looking at mooring 514 at 73 feet.
Okay.
Are those moorings, I know they're picked up and then replaced, are they consistent from year to year?
Oh, yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I was just curious on that.
sure.
Any other commissioners or any public commentary?
There is no comment from the public.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. It was an NOI.
And Chad, before you call out, before the motion and votes, this will be you, Tom, Paul, and Brian. Steve Cook is here, but he can comment, but he cannot vote on any of these petitions tonight unless we lose another member throughout this hearing.
I never know. Hearings get rowdy. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the request for SCCA Incorporated 15 Metacomet Road for permit existing pier, ramp, and float structure.
Thank you, Tom. Motion to close an issue made. Voting.
Oh,
Tom.
do you need a second, Chad?
Oh, yeah, that's generally how this works. Do I hear a second?
Chad, this is
I'll
Paul. I'll second that.
Go ahead, Paul.
I got 2 seconds. That makes 4. Voting. Tom.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Paul.
Yes.
And I'll vote aye as well. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Can we just skip straight to this next one, Drew, or do you need a minute to admit anyone new?
All the applicants are the same and attending the meeting, so you can move forward.
Outstanding. Now calling the 603 hearing for SCCA Incorporated. 112 Whippoorwill Circle, permit existing pier, ramp, and float structure. The request of the applicant, this has been continued from 9/10, for the applicant to communicate with the harbor master and submit revised plans showing moorings located within 75 feet. This is a notice of intent.
Yes, good evening again. Barry Fogel from Keegan Whirlin on behalf of the applicant, and the exact same facts are true here. We revised the plan and submitted what you're seeing in front of you with distances measured to the nearest moorings. That was communicated to the harbor master, and his correspondence to Drew and the commission indicates that all of his questions were addressed and he has no objections to this proposal. So, as before, we'd appreciate approval, answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Drew?
Yeah, no other comments, and I'm sure you're all aware, unless anyone has any questions, this is just a mirror project from 15 Metacomet. Steve Cook, these two petitions, just for your information, involve permitting existing footprints of existing licensed docks. Some amendments were made without a permit, so they're coming forward with a permit to bring everything into compliance, and it's passed merit with both the harbor master and shellfish wardens.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Any from the public?
No public comment.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. This is an NOI.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the 603 hearing for SCCA Incorporated 1112 Whippoorwill Circle to permit existing pier, ramp, and float structure.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Voting. Tom.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Paul.
Yes.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Give you a minute, Drew, to...
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, what do we got? Shop. Brad Holmes, are you on the line?
I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
I can. I'm going to invite you to the meeting. Is there anyone else that I need to invite that's attending this meeting, or is it just you?
I don't believe so. I believe it's just me.
Okay, I'm inviting you now. You should be on the screen momentarily.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
All right, now calling the 606 hearing, New Spcaberry Mashpee condominium owners, 358 Shore Drive West. Proposal to amend order of conditions to allow additional pruning and non-native invasive plant removal to a previously approved vegetation management plan. This is an amended order of conditions.
Thank you, members of the commission. We're here for an amended order of conditions request for Mashpee Village. If you remember, we were in front of the commission last winter for a notice of intent for a vegetation management plan where we were proposing to take some red cedar trees down along the top of the coastal bank. Working with the commission, we revised that proposal to just prune the red cedar trees along the coastal bank, top of the coastal bank, which we were able to do this early spring, and I think they came out great. We did update the commission with a report on that. What we're looking to do in this amendment request is just add some additional flexibility to the Mashpee Village with pruning on the coastal bank. There wouldn't be any tree removal or removal of vegetation other than some invasive plants that are on the bank, such as bittersweet and some other non-natives, and just some general maintenance pruning along the top of the coastal bank to approximate 3 feet to maintain views, and just shape some of the bayberry and prune some of the other, there's some crabapple and some other plants on the bank. And we didn't include those activities in that past notice of intent, and we didn't want to be out doing any, even just minor work without your approval. So we submitted this request to amend the order of conditions to include these activities on the coastal bank. A fairly simple application, and but we wanted to be covered with an amendment.
Very much appreciated. Drew, comments?
Not much else to add to this application. It's very similar to the original application, only adding some additional species, noting some additional species that they're going to include in their pruning for the coastal bank, or mostly on the top of the coastal bank. You can see some of the images here that were included in the NOI narrative and project description. There's some images of the bank here. Top left, looking at the cedar trees that were already pruned. They did a nice job with those. And then mixed in here is mostly a lot of rugosa rose. On the top right image here, this is bayberry that they're proposing to prune down to a similar height of what you see in the foreground, which is, again, mostly rugosa rose with a mix of some invasives in there, some of those invasive vines, the bittersweet, which is here on the lower left, this image here. And then bottom right image, just to show you what the existing conditions on the bank look like right now for Mashpee. This is a view of the coastal bank from the coastal beach below, looking up at the vegetation. So again, pretty straightforward. It's a pretty easy amendment request, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Drew. Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
Any comment? No public comment either, Chad, just so you know.
Thank you, sir. I will entertain a motion from the commission.
I will make a motion, Mr. Chairman, for the 606 hearing for New Spcaberry Mashpee condominium owners to amend the original order of conditions for 358 Shore Drive West for Mashpee condominiums.
Thank you, Tom. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Now voting. Tom?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Paul?
Yes.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, members of the commission. Thanks for your help, Drew.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll bring up the next attendee. Just give me a moment.
Thank you.
Kathy Miller, thank you. Kathy, are you on the line? Kathy Miller? I'm going to admit her and show her the number. I don't hear her on the line, so just give it a moment here. No, it's right side up on the imagery. Or is it upside? Oh, you're right. Sorry. Kathy, can you hear us? Kathy, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, great. We're going to open your hearing in just a moment. Is there anyone else? Anyone else accompanying you, Kathy?
I'm sorry, you're getting a lot of feedback.
You have to shut off your computer audio.
Yeah, I'd already shut that off.
Okay, I'm not sure what the issue is. Chad, go ahead and open the hearing.
Very well. Now calling the 609 hearing for Kathleen and James Miller, 105 Pompanesett Island Road. Proposed tree removal. This is an RDA. Kathleen, please go ahead.
Okay, I'm here tonight because I have 3 maple trees. As you can see, they're circled on the picture in front of me. I assume that's in front of you as well.
It is.
We planted those maybe 25 years ago, and they were a lovely part of our landscape, mostly designed just for a height variation, actually. Well, now they're really, really big. They're blocking my hydrangeas, but more than anything, the roots are encroaching on my driveway, and they're pulling up my pavers. So I would like to take them down.
Thank you. And could you do me a favor? I forgot to ask you to state your name for the record in the beginning, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, certainly. My name's Kathleen Miller.
Thank you. These new chairmen, we just really are not doing well tonight. Drew, any comment?
Just to go over the resource areas for this particular property, 105 Pompanesett Island Road, as you can see here on the GIS image, is not bordering any wetland areas. In the vicinity is outside of 100 feet from any bordering vegetated wetland, salt marsh, or land under ocean or coastal bank. So the only resource area that this property falls under is land subject to coastal storm flowage. As you know, Regulation 25 under the bylaw does contain standards for land subject to coastal storm flow, most specifically related to retention of native vegetation on a lot depending on lot size. Given that these 3 maple trees were planted, they are not indigenous to the lot. They were not natively, they're not native species, they're landscape features. It doesn't really apply to the standards under Reg 25. Just to make it known to the commission, the remaining vegetation on the lot, which you can see better in this whole area here in the back, does account for the 20% standard on this lot under Regulation 25, and that's for lots that exceed 10,000 square feet in size. So the vegetation retention standard, which is 20%, is already existing on this lot, and the removal of these trees doesn't affect that standard. Plus, they are ornamental and not of native origin. So I would recommend a negative determination.
Yeah, sounds like Kathleen, good to go. Comments from the commissioners? Nope. Any public commentary?
There is no public comment.
Very well. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to, in favor of the 609 hearing for James K. and Kathleen Miller for 105 Papaneset Island Road, proposed tree removal.
For official purposes, it's a negative determination.
I'm sorry. We're including a negative determination for this RDA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Voting. Tom.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Paul.
Yes.
I vote aye as well. Negative determination carried. You're good to go, Kathleen.
That's a little confusing when you
Yeah.
say negative. It sounds bad, but I guess that means they can go, huh?
It's one of the many odd things in the procedure, but yes, you're good to go.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. I assume I get something in the mail.
Yeah, we'll mail out the signed permit for you. Sometime within the next week, once we process all the permits from this meeting.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time this evening.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Hi, Drew.
Yes, Wayne?
Yeah, hi, this is Wayne, yeah. I can't get in, I cannot.
Wayne,
get
we
into
keep
this
everybody
meeting.
in the waiting room until it's your time to be called up to the meeting, so please be patient and we'll call you up.
Oh, that's it, so you're just holding me out until, all right.
Correct, which will be in just a matter of seconds.
Okay, where am I on the list? I'm so late here.
Wayne, I'm about to invite you in now.
Oh.
Just give me a moment here. Actually, I don't see him. Where is he? Wayne, have you clicked on the link to this meeting? I don't see you as anyone. I don't see you listed in the waiting room.
I'm really trying. Is join a meeting. I'm using your launch meeting. I got your address. I'm just putting in the password now, and I have all that. But I mean, I haven't failed getting into a meeting yet.
Well, we sent you the email with the link, so you shouldn't have to put in any
Yeah.
password or anything. You should just have to click on the link.
Yeah. Join the meeting. I'm sorry, Drew. I just. Please wait. You're going to invite me, but I can't go anywhere here.
Are you using an email from an earlier commission meeting?
Yeah, look at the date of the email, Wayne. It should be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody else who did that about 30 minutes ago.
October 2nd, I have.
That should be the right one. And there should be a link that you just simply click on that should bring you into the waiting room.
I believe he said October 2nd. He should have October 8th.
October 8th?
Well, no,
Oh,
the meeting date is October 8th. The email was sent out on October 2nd for the
I'm
October
sorry, Jeff.
8th meeting. So if your email is dated October 7th, Wayne, you have the correct email.
2nd. No, I said the 2nd.
Yeah, that is the correct email.
October 2nd. Which for October 8th is tonight. It ends with the DZ09, the Zoom meeting.
Do you see a link?
that?
Do you see a link in that email, Wayne?
Says join the Zoom meeting, HTTPS. Yes, I have it.
Okay, can you click on that link?
Mhm. Says open the Zoom meeting. So I'm hitting launch the meeting. That says please wait. The meeting host will let you soon.
Okay, there you are. I got you. You'll be joining momentarily.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, there you are. Chad, we are good to go.
All right, the Eagle has landed. Now calling the 612 hearing for George and Kathleen Hodgson, 17 Cedar Street. Proposal to amend order of conditions to allow mitigation plantings and reconfiguration of an elevated stairway to a previously approved dock. This is an amended order of conditions. Wayne, please state your name for the record and speak your piece.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne,
Not hear you.
you can't hear us? Wayne?
I'm sorry. I can just barely hear you.
Wayne, can you hear me now?
I don't know what's going on here.
Can you turn up the volume on your, if you're on your computer audio, you have to mute your computer.
How about if I call you again? Can I go on the phone? Can you put it on speakerphone?
We are on speakerphone right now, otherwise we wouldn't be able to hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
So you can hear us now. Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Can
I'll
you
just keep the phone up here.
We're ready
Fine.
for your presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can you see the share the screen? You have these things up now, right? Correct?
I do.
All right, and I'm looking at an aerial right now.
Correct. I would just start the proposal, Wayne, give your name for the record. And
Okay,
then you
sorry.
can cue me on
Yes,
to whatever
Wayne
screen you
Tavares,
want.
Wet Tech Land Design, representing the Hodgsons at 17 Cedar Street in Mashpee on an amended order to change the configuration of some elevated walkways to a dock that you have previously approved. You also previously approved the stairway down. Can you see my pointer?
Wayne, if you want to do screen sharing, I'll exit my screen sharing. And if you want to put yours up, that's fine.
No, I'll stay with yours.
Okay.
I'm not feeling that great about what's going on here with this meeting thing.
Okay. I've got your image of the plan up on the screen right now.
Good. Okay. That'll be a good start. So let me deal with that. Sure. And I'm sorry, everybody. I've only been on it a dozen times, twice this week already, and I haven't got the approach right. Okay. Previously, this is SE 43-2979. You have approved this project last year, and since then the DEP has granted a license for a dock for the Hodgson. So the dock is staying in place. There is no change at the level down below where you see the blue line that separates the green dock and the stairways. There's two stairways showing up, one in dotted lines in blue, and the other is the proposed one in red. When we did the original elevated walkway in blue, we were bouncing off trees, and we reconfigured it for the benefit of non-removal of trees. And at the time, the Hodgsons were concerned about sufficient platforms and so forth to walk down. So we have shortened this now and come from the biggest reason is it comes from a different starting point. Instead of halfway across the pool area, it's coming opposite a brick patio and a little bit closer to the access to the house. And it also shortens the steps. It's a benefit for conservation. We have mitigated this with plants on the top because there is an erosion issue at that place. And yet the same number of steps are being contrived to configured to work into this area. So you have one platform at the top, a middle platform, a third platform, and then finally a little one just before you enter the dock. So there's a savings here of approximately 60 square feet from one to the other. It's a more direct route. There is no trees that are in the way. When I first designed it, so you know, I like to go perpendicular to contour lines. So that's why I moved it over so far and ranged it over. Now it's coming across at an angle with contour lines, which we can live with. It'll be higher or lower to the ground on one side than the other, but these are all being supported by wooden steps, posts, 4x4 posts. So it's the same situation as before, same mitigation, just rearranged, and we're hoping that you approve this shorter approach to this project. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Wayne, and don't feel bad about the technical difficulties. It's usually me doing it. Drew, any comments?
Just to review some photos of the site, top left looking at the house from the driveway entrance off the main road. This borders a relatively steep coastal bank. Top right is a shot looking down the bank. These folks do have a Vista pruning permit in place. One of the things that, just because you'll notice that the area has been cleared already in anticipation of this project, is, and just to explain that to the commission, when I got to this site to look at a new proposed footprint for and location for the stairway, some of the area had been cleared to stake it out, and the clearing obviously was in excess of what needed to be done for that purpose of these stakes going down the bank. So we communicated that to the homeowner and to the contractor on site. Did explain that in the future, for future reference, that clearing for staking a footprint must be taken with a minimal approach when it comes to clearing of vegetation. And so they understood that, they apologized, and just to explain, when you look at these photos here, top right photo, probably the best one, you can see the clearing was really in excess of what needed to take place. So that's why you see this mitigation here, because the area is pretty much barren right now. So that mitigation is really being put in place to make up for the excessive clearing that took place to show the staking for this new proposed location for the stairway. As far as the stairway itself, it's no more wider than 4 feet. We do allow for access through naturally vegetated buffer strips and resource areas to access the water through pathways no wider than 4 feet, be it at grade or elevated. So this is an elevated pathway. And they did select a different location to reduce potential tree removal from the original location, which is here in blue. So this pathway results in fewer trees being taken down. Granted, there was more clearing that needed to be done for showing its staking, but that's been addressed through this mitigation. So no other comments. It is an allowable project, Regulation 29, which deals with naturally vegetated buffer strips and vista pruning. It meets the performance standards for those, for that particular regulation, and it meets the performance standards for Coastal Bank in terms of allowing access to the water under 310 CMR. So no other comments.
Thank you, Drew. Questions from the commission members? Hearing none, are there any in the audience?
No public comment.
Thank you, Drew. In that case, we'll entertain a motion. This would be for an approval of an amended order of conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve an amendment to an existing order of conditions for George and Kathleen Hodgson, 17 Cedar Street, proposed change of mitigation plantings and reconfiguration of an elevated stairway to a previously approved dock.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you much. Now voting. Tom?
Aye.
Brian? Do I have you there, Brian?
Yeah, aye. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Brian. Paul?
Yes.
And I'll vote aye as well. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'm sorry about the confusion.
No problem. Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, thanks. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me a minute, Drew.
Sure. The next hearing's been continued, Chad, so if you want to proceed with that one, there is a
beautiful.
continuance request. Yeah.
Now calling the 615 Bayswater Seaside 2 LLC, 50 Coastline Drive. This is proposed construction of a single-family dwelling with mitigation plantings. At the request of the applicant, it was continued from 9/24 for DEP review, and it has again been requested to be moved to what time and date, Drew?
This has been continued. I think you received something from Cynthia, Chad, that, but it's November 12th. I don't have the time in front of me because Cynthia had sent it out to you.
Let me see what I got. And by
6:06 p.m. hearing.
Okay. 6:06 p.m. Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you. We'll entertain a motion for the postponement to the 6:06 hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for Bayswater Seaside LLC, 50 Coastline Drive, to be continued to the November 12th hearing at 6:06 p.m.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Now voting. Tom?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Paul?
Yes.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries for postponement.
Thank you. I will invite the next attendees in and let you know, Chad.
Thank you.
Sure. Matt Creighton, are you on the line?
Hey, Drew, do you hear me?
I hear you, Matt. Matt, is there anyone else I should invite in to this meeting who wishes to attend on behalf of the applicant or the applicant themselves?
Yeah, Linda and John should be on there as well.
John Weigel?
Yep, John Weigel.
Okay, I just admitted them both, and they should be coming on momentarily. Okay, we see you, Matt. Chad, we are good to go for you to announce the hearing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now calling the 6:18 hearing for John Weigel and Linda Smith, 33 Sturgis Lane, proposed demolition and reconstruction of single-family dwelling, septic system upgrade, landscape and hardscape modification, mitigation plantings, and Vista pruning. Request of the applicant, this was continued from 9/24. This is a notice of intent. If you could, please state your name and speak your piece for the record.
I'm Matt Creighton with the BSC Group, representing the homeowners for the proposed raise and replace of the single-family home. At the site, we have a state inland bank, a local inland bank, natural heritage endangered species area over Mashpee Pond, and land underwater of Mashpee Pond. The proposed project is a complete removal of the existing house and a replacement of a new house approximately 10 feet landward of existing away from the water. In total, about 35 feet from the inland bank, the local inland bank, to the new house, proposed house. The house includes several different walls, driveway, decks, porch, garage area, along with a proposed new bulkhead wall down by Mashpee Pond. We're proposing to remove the existing retaining wall that's down there and proposing a new one just landward of that. In total, we've got an existing area of 2,358 square feet of impervious. We're proposing 3,520 square feet of new impervious for a total change of 1,162 over the course of the project. Along with the replacement wall down below, we're going to regrade that bank area, and we're also proposing to remove 2 diseased American beech trees and a cherry tree and a couple of oaks that fall within the existing, the proposed new footprint. We've got a pretty robust landscape plan, mitigation plan rather, that we're proposing, broken down into different areas. We've got trees to replace our trees, eastern arborvitaes there, and then we've broken this down by location essentially, with the hillside and then sides of the property. We've included management of several different invasive species that are out there as part of the mitigation area, as well as kind of a robust management of stormwater on the site. This has quite a bit of stormwater runoff issues because it is kind of a steep graded site. So even though this is a single family home, outside of the 100-foot buffer, we're actually proposing to manage stormwater coming down the driveways into an underground system, and then we're regrading around the site, around the proposed new structure in order to kind of manage stormwater better and beefing up a lot of the mitigation plantings out there. So typically you wouldn't see something like that unless we had 4 or more single-family homes. It's not really required, but it is something that we're trying to do as an overall betterment to the site. We're required, based on the calcs down there, perfect, Drew, about 3,504 square feet of mitigation, and we're proposing 3,505. Like I said, that includes some invasive management in various areas as they've been identified. In addition, we've included just a Vista view corridor. So once the house is built and everything is planted, we kind of have a 25-foot corridor there where we would like to manage the view of the pond. That is pretty much it. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much. Drew, comments?
Yep, I'm just going to show you some photos of the site here. Let me just get out of this. Oh, no, don't want that. Okay. So here, just a GIS image, you can see the relation of the existing home to, this is the inland bank down here, shoreline along Mashpee-Wakeby Pond, and then the upland portion of the lot. So as was already stated, you've got the resource areas, inland bank, land under water bodies and waterways associated with Mashpee-Wakeby Pond, bordering land subject to flooding, which is the shoreline area down here where the pond meets the shore. There doesn't appear to be any bordering vegetated wetland here, so it is more conducive to bordering land subject to flooding. And then it is labeled as natural heritage endangered species habitat here along the shoreline, presumably for freshwater mussel. I think, did we receive the letter already, Matt? Is that, they did indicate a no take?
We've got the email from Natural Heritage.
Email.
She said that she wouldn't have the official letter, but she basically copied it into an email. It just wasn't finally signed, but it was for the mussels. So because the proposed wall is going to be landward of the existing, they didn't anticipate any mussel impact because it's not actually in the water.
Okay, very good. Some photos of the site here, top left looking at the top of the driveway as you enter into the parcel. So you can see it as a gradual slope, which becomes progressively steeper as you get towards the house here in the background. Shot of the driveway here. This is where some of the proposed footprint of the house garage area near this shed. Here and here are the 2 trees proposed to be removed. There were a few other beech trees that were already given permission to be removed. I forgot the particular name of the affliction for the beech trees, Matt, but it's prevalent all over this lot. So it was required.
beach bark disease.
Beach bark disease, thank you. So it has impacted all of the beech trees, unfortunately, with the exception of maybe some of the smaller saplings along the shoreline. Bottom left, again, just another area, a shot of the existing lot where proposed structure is, or structure is proposed. And then just another vantage point up here. Here's the staking for a garage corner looking back down towards the house and water. A couple more shots. This is, again, staking showing the increased footprint, proposed footprint for the new home. Top of bank right along here. And then a shot of the water side of the home. You've got the existing deck. There's the top of the retaining wall bank right around this area here. Again, bottom left, looking at the opposite side of the home from top left. This is where some of the regrading is taking place. And again, some of the deck, proposed deck footprint and enclosed deck in this area here. And then bottom right, we're looking at, again, just further to the left in the image on the bottom left, just to show you this is the natural vegetated area. Some of this vegetation, burning bush, is proposed to be removed as it is invasive. And then when you get into this area, which I'll show you again on the next slide here, this area here, you can't really see it, but inside here is where they're proposing. There's a gap in here on the bank of a good conducive area for mitigation plantings, which I'll go back up to the plan in a moment and show you. But this is the area. You can't really see inside there. I didn't want to hack my way through to get a photo, but this is the area where additional proposed mitigation is. Just a couple more shots of the bank here, top left, looking at the bank stairway going down to access the shoreline. A shot top right, looking back up at the house. This is the inland bank here. You can see clearly the retaining wall is very old. It's in a state of, near collapse. So that's why the regrading of this bank is proposed as part of this application to stabilize, rebuild this retaining wall, and provide better containment here where the bank meets the shoreline. So everything that they're proposing, and I do want to just make it a point to say that the regrading of the bank isn't going to change the slope of the bank in terms of its jurisdictional status as inland bank. And this will be revegetated, the invasive species will be removed and revegetated as per the plan details. So just going back up to the plan real quick here. Let me bring it back up. Okay. So the area that I had mentioned earlier that you couldn't really see for mitigation, that's down here. So looking back from the dock over to that thickly vegetated area, there is a gap in here with some invasive species removal and some planting that's being proposed. Bank regrading shown here. This is the new retaining wall at the bottom of the bank. So the only thing that I would add, Matt, and we have your Area C mitigation. This is for the bank area once it's been regraded. You've got sweet fern, creeping juniper, and pasture rose in this area, and we had talked about the possible replanting of the existing bayberry on that bank. And I would like to see just a few more shrub varieties, at least 2 more shrub varieties added to this plan. Maybe take out the sweet fern, replace it with some shrubs. I think shrubs would really add to the stability of a regraded bank. And I don't really think sweet fern is conducive to that. I think we can come up with some better shrubs for that. And creeping juniper, I'm not sure about that either, but I would like the opportunity to discuss the planting plan for Area C a little more than what you've got listed there. I think there may be some better species there than what's identified. I don't have any issue with the other species that you've identified for areas A and B. It's just C, the bank, that I think we should take another look at. I don't think it requires to the commission to come back and review it, but that's your discretion. I just think it's a simple few swapping out of what's suggested for this area to some other different types of shrubs. So with that, I'll turn it back to the commission. The project does meet all the performance standards for the resource areas at hand. Most of the site in this area and what's proposed to be developed, as you can see from the photos, is already pre-disturbed, either landscaping or hardscaping, or a combination of the two. So in regards to inland bank, it meets the standards. Granted, the bank is going to be regraded, but it's in the interest of increasing the bank stability, getting rid of invasives, and replanting with the mitigation to be worked out in that particular area, this bank area here. Stabilizing the bottom of the bank with the new retaining wall. And then you've got, obviously, some increase in footprint here proposed for the upland portions, but as I said, this is entirely pre-disturbed as existing lawn and landscaping. So with that, I'll turn it back to the commissioners.
Thank you, Drew. Questions from the commissioners? All right, did I hear someone speaking? Did I talk over someone who wanted to be heard?
I'm sorry, it's Matt again. I lost one thing that Drew said, and I just wanted to clarify. Were you saying that you wanted to swap out the sweet fern, or you wanted to add something else with the sweet? I heard two more varieties, and then I heard sweet fern, but I wasn't sure what you wanted with it.
Yeah, the creeping juniper and sweet fern, I think, could be substituted out with different species. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I got you. Right.
Sure.
You broke up just for a second on it.
Yeah, no problem. Is there public comment, Kate? No commentary from the public, Chad.
All right, in that case, we'll entertain a motion. The decision of the commissioner making the motion, but you may consider conditioning this to accommodate the conservation agent's suggestion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the 6/18 hearing of John B. Weigel and Linda F. Smith at 33 Sturgis Lane, proposed demolition and reconstruction of single-family dwelling, septic system upgrade, landscape and hardscape modification. And we'll condition it with that pending approval of final plantings by the conservation agent.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, for the close and issue motion. I'll begin voting. Tom?
Oh, did you get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you.
And that's the second time I've done that tonight. Voting. Tom?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Paul?
Yes.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, guys. Drew, I'll talk to you about species, but yeah, we're happy to swap a couple things out. It's not a problem.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Great.
The next two hearings, Chad, are proposed to be continued, so there's no one else to bring in, so you can proceed.
That's outstanding. Calling the 6/21 hearing, Michael and Julie Rand, 58 Pompanesett Island Road. At the request of the applicant, this is to be continued. Are the times and dates for this in the email from Cynthia I neglected?
Yeah, so 58 Pompanesett Island is proposed to be, requested to be continued to November 12th at 6:03 p.m.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for the 6/21 58 Pompanesett Island.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for the 6/21 hearing for Michael and Julie Rand for 58 Pompanesett Island Road to be continued to the November 12th, 6:08 hearing.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now calling the 6/24 Carol A. Bellis et al. Trustees, 104 Pompanesett Island Road. This is the proposed demolition and reconstruction of a single-family dwelling, septic system upgrade mitigation, and they requested it to be continued to.
Actually, I'm sorry, they haven't requested a continuance for this. I'm going to admit them into the meeting now. As of this moment, unless we're told otherwise, this project has not been assigned a DEP permit number. I'll admit Thomas Bunker and Andrew Garrelay into the meeting, but as per commission protocol, we cannot open a meeting without a DEP number being issued. So let me just ask if they're on the line verbally right now, Andrew and Tom, have either of you received a DEP number for this application?
I'm just looking. This is Tom. I don't see it. I hadn't thought of that, but I don't see it here.
Okay. Well then, Tom, I would recommend that you request a continuance because the commission cannot open a hearing in the absence of a DEP number.
Yeah, okay. Let me just check. Yeah, I don't see it. It's unusual. We usually get them on time.
Yeah.
But we'll have to request a continuance and with no DEP number.
Okay, so the next available date is November 12th and the time 6:08 p.m.
Okay. Let me go back. I mean, I'll take that. I mean, is it? Yeah, I don't think we got it. I was wondering if I could table it quickly and go check my other computer.
If you want to do, we could move on to other pre-post agenda items, Tom, to give you some time.
Okay. Yeah. It'll just take a moment.
Okay.
Let me get right back.
Okay. In the meantime, Chad, I can go back to the pre-post with just a couple more updates, if that's acceptable.
Before you start, Joe, I'd like to, first of all, apologize to the commission and the public. I have some fairly vital business I have to attend to tonight, and at this point I have to step out, and I would like to turn the meeting over to our Vice Chairman, Thomas Upton.
Okay.
Any objections from the commissioners? Particularly from Tom.
No, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Everybody, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Take care.
You too.
Okay, so moving on to, well, we temporarily table the 104 Pompanesett Island Road. Just a couple more updates to go over. One is the status for Red Brook Road Culvert. Red Brook Road, as you all recall, has been going through some issues with the status of the culvert at that location that has been compromised in some fashion. And what the towns of Falmouth and Mashpee have been doing ever since this occurred last month is trying to identify ownership of the culvert. We know that Red Brook Road is a town-owned road between Falmouth and Mashpee. The issue that needed to be vetted out was who owns the culvert. So as of the latest information and discussion with the Department of Public Works Director, Catherine Laurent had informed me that they have spoken to town council about this, and town council recommends that the town of Mashpee and Falmouth, I think it's mostly in Mashpee at this point, but I think the culvert really goes right across the town lines, is to pursue ownership of this culvert so that the town can then clear that obstacle out of the way, get into finding out what the issue of the culvert is, making sure that it's fixed, that it doesn't compromise the integrity of the road, and then look at the bog situation, the flooded bog, which is no longer flooded because of this leak, and deal with that situation as well. Now, I don't have any further information as far as what that would entail, as far as what to do with the bog. It is privately owned. It is part of the association land of the residential subdivision surrounding it. So at first, it will require communication with that association to determine the next steps as far as what's going to happen to that bog. So that's the latest information that I have. I don't have any more information in regards to this, only that I think that the wheels are moving, so to speak, on acquiring this culvert, which is basically attached to the road shoulder, and making it under the ownership of both towns so that they can proceed to the next steps. Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay. Tom?
Yes. I could find, I have no email from DEP, so
Okay.
no number.
Okay. So again, Tom, you'll need to request a continuance to November 12th, and the time is 6:08 PM.
Okay, I do so request.
Do I hear a motion from anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we continue the hearing for, just looking through my agenda, 104 Pompanesett Island Road. Is that the right one?
Yes.
Yep.
Until our next meeting, November 12th at, what was it, 6:08?
6:08.
6:08 PM. Do I hear a second?
A second.
And voting, Paul,
Yes.
Brian, voting to continue? Yes. Who else do we have left here?
Steve Cook.
Steve. Oh, yes. And I'll vote aye as well.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Okay, so it has been continued, Tom, to November 12th at 6:08 PM.
Okay, could I ask you, is on a different subject, the extension for Unchained Road, is that okay?
Yes, no issues. Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
thank you. Okay. So there were no issues with the certificate of compliance request for 105 Whippoorwill Circle that passed inspection. That's 43-3001. I want to bring, is Matt Eddy on the line? Or, I'm sorry, not Matt. Hold on one second here. Mike Ball, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here, Drew.
Okay, Mike, I'm admitting you to the meeting now. This is going back to the first item on the post-hearing agenda, which is an update regarding Willow Bend. And just to remind the commissioners, this is the an update on the wetlands violation that took place for some cutting of trees in one of the abandoned bogs along the golf course layout in Willow Bend, and I'll turn it over to Mike Ball. Mike, I may not have the right PDF on this. If you have something, I can stop screen sharing, and if you want to put up something, or if you just want to describe the update to the commission.
Yeah, that what you've shown there, that's kind of a work in progress draft from Matt. That's a future plan. We're working on a master, kind of like a master planning document for Willow Bend to allow them to do some maintenance activities under an order of conditions. And so that plan is something you and Matt have looked at.
Right.
So while that includes the areas we'll discuss in a second, that's actually not the plan, not the mitigation planting plan that we submitted. So you probably have a planting plan for 2 separate areas.
Right, and unfortunately, I didn't load it onto this presentation, so I don't have, I picked the wrong plan. I apologize for that. I don't have the other one available right now. I don't know if you have it, Mike?
I don't have it on my thumb drive, so I mean, I'm happy to describe what we've got there.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that, and just give the commission some background first, and then describe what has taken place.
Sure, and also I'd love to try this sharing of screens, but I'm not sure if I do it right. I've never done it before, but
I can stop share now if you want to give it a try.
You want to? I don't see how I can do this. All right, so I'm gonna. My wife just yelled at me. Says, "You need help." let me see if I can do something. Stop video now. It's not going to work there. Because I brought up Google Earth, and I can see the site on Google Earth. I just don't know how to. Let's see what this does. Share screen. Can you see that?
We can now, yeah. Well, it's in progress. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So okay, I'm gonna pan out here. So there's Willow Bend, golf course galore. We've got we've got two areas that where there was some cutting done, and I'm going to zoom into the first area here. This is Quiniquisette, okay, this road here, main entrance to Willow Bend. As you go to the north here, you've got this fairway right here. Okay, so I think that's called Bay 7. You've got a pond, water feature, really, right here. So Willow Bend had gone in and actually cut vegetation along this pond margin here. So I had done a survey of what vegetation was remaining. We had our Baxter and I survey crew out there actually locating cut stumps, and I did a survey of the species. So this is the first area. We'll call this. I think we call this Bay 7. All right, so that's one area. This area right here is a carryover area. It's an abandoned bog. You do have a river running through it. It has historically been managed with cutting. What I think the question is, was cutting historically allowed in this flyover area? So what we've done is we've provided a planting plan that shows replacement of vegetation along this pond margin. Okay, this is a man-made pond, and then we proposed replacement vegetation in this area here, where there was cutting. This area is different from this area in that this bank was almost entirely large gray willow, invasive large gray willow, but that wasn't the only vegetation that was cut. There was some native vegetation cut, but the vast majority was large gray willow, which you know is impacting our Cape ponds. So what Baxter and I did for Willow Bend is prepared a planning plan to replace native vegetation along this embankment. As I recall, and I apologize for not having the plan in front of me, we replaced at a 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 plants provided, 3 shrubs provided per 1 removed of the native plants that were cut. Based on my survey, we had 7 individual trees or shrubs that were native that were fluff cut to the ground. So we were proposing 21 native shrubs along this embankment. In this area, we also did a search of stumps, and so our mitigation plan also provides plantings of red maple in this area here. Now, this is a I don't golf, but my understanding is golfers would hit from the tee box. They would land somewhere in here, and then from this location they would hit from here to there, and then from this location they go to the green. So this is what we call a flyover area. And the future NOI that we're going to submit to you is going to discuss proposed long-term and seasonal maintenance of this area here. But for now, to address the cutting, we're proposing plantings in this area. And I believe the planting plan provides seedling red maples to mitigate for what was cut in this area. Before I move on to the other area, do we want to talk about, do you want me to answer any questions regarding this, Drew?
Yeah, sure, Mike, that would be good. If the commission has any questions on what's been covered so far, just so the commission is aware, this is being dealt with through an enforcement order. It wasn't part of a notice of intent, because a notice of intent would assume that the work would have been permittable, which it is not. So in that type of scenario, we go through an enforcement order to achieve compliance. So just to give the commission background on how we're achieving compliance in this situation. So, and as Mike had mentioned earlier, that there will be a notice of intent forthcoming. We had a site visit with some of the commissioners, Willow Bend staff, and Matthew Eddy from Baxter Nye, who's been retained along with Mike Ball to address some recent violations in different areas on Willow Bend within wetlands jurisdiction. So the thought process is with this kind of comprehensive notice of intent to go through parameters with jurisdictional areas of the golf course, identify what are routine maintenance activities within jurisdiction, mowing, pathway maintenance, things like that, as compared to larger projects that may require more in-depth review, permit applications, and things of that nature. So it was just really a situation where there were a few violations, all within very close timing of each other, and we realized that this is the best approach. We have something similar set up with Quashnet Valley that was established before my time, but there was a, kind of like a list of conditions that are agreed upon between the commission and the operators of the golf course that would be kind of like set in stone moving forward, and then subject to review, of course, after a certain number of years. All of that at the discretion of the commission. So does anyone have any questions at this point on this particular issue? No?
Nope.
Okay, Mike?
All right, so we'll move to the south here. So again, this is Quiniquisette. Down here, closer to Shoestring Bay. This is Shoestring Bay here. We've got, let me see if we get zoom right in here. So I believe this is actually based, what I was discussing is called Bog 7. This is Bay 7. So Bog up here because there's a cranberry bog that they, or the end of the cranberry bog that they fly over. Down here is Bay 7 because of the bay. All right, so we'll call this Bay 7 here. Now, when you zoom in, there was cutting of trees along the margin of this fairway and green, which we'll call Bay 7. All right, so right in here, from about here to here, there was some cutting. This was not recent cutting. This was something that was fairly old, but my understanding is it was not something that was approved by the commission, so that's why the red flags went up. So we've submitted another planting plan that replaces woody vegetation that was cut in this area. So as I recall, I think there were 16 different locations, 16 different stumps that were identified, primarily oaks, some cherry. I think there was a white pine mixed in there. And so we have provided a planting plan that replaces woody vegetation along in this buffer. So this is the 50-foot buffer to the bordering vegetated wetland associated with this little estuarine area associated with the bay. And I believe the plan showed a proposed Vista corridor that the golf course would love to be able to maintain kind of through this area. So when a golfer is here, look at the green here, there'd be a narrow Vista corridor. And I believe the planting plan shows some width of Vista that they would like to be able to maintain on an annual basis to keep the view open to the bay. The species that were impacted I think I mentioned, were mostly oaks. As I recall, it was white oak and scarlet oak. The plantings that we've proposed to replace those trees, I believe we also used a 3-to-1 replacement planting per impacted plant. And the species we included were, I believe, primarily white oak, but I think we may have included some red maple as well. So again, you'll have a second plant plan that's been submitted specific to this area right in here. And I'd be happy to answer questions regarding this one.
Any questions? Tom?
Any questions from the commissioners?
No, I'm good.
No.
Very well.
Okay, Mike.
Your feedback on this?
from me. I'm going to stop sharing, so I'll bring you
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, well, thank you, Mike, for bringing us up to speed. I apologize to the commission for having the wrong plan there. It was kind of an associated plan, but not detailing the mitigation specifically. But I'll make it a point to bring it to the next meeting as just a continuation of this pre-post as an update to the commission. And again, my apologies for not having.
Need to.
Huh?
No need to apologize.
No, it's my mistake. But if nobody has any questions, Mike, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
All right, take care.
All right, take care.
Okay, second to last agenda item. This is a change of the, as you all recall, we had to go through the certificate of vote for purposes of recording issued permits at the Registry of Deeds. And the previous certificate of authorization has Brad Sweet's name on it. He is no longer the chairman, nor is he the vice chairman on the commission. So I have wording here, Tom, that I'll just show you on the screen for a motion. And this is really to change the wording to authorize the chair, or in the chair's absence, vice chair. So we're using general terminology like that as opposed to actual names, just in case there's turnover or what have you, as long as this kind of requirement exists, and it's really due to COVID protocols that we have to go through all of this, as opposed to getting everybody's signature on every permit. It's just one person's signature. But instead of designating names, we're just using the terms chair and vice chair. So, Tom, I'll put this up on the screen if you want to make a motion. I don't know if Cynthia sent you the actual motion. Did she send you anything?
Yes, she did.
Okay, so you have that?
I'll just open it. So I need to obtain an motion to rescind and replace the certificate of authorization recorded on 5/5/2020 to authorize the chair, it will say, to authorize the chair, or in the chair's absence, the vice chair, to execute and endorse all decisions, permits, approvals, plans, orders, instruments, or other documents or whatever nature on behalf of and as duly authorized agent for the Conservation Commission. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
So moved.
So
Do I
moved.
hear it? Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
The voting, Paul?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. The motion carries.
Great, thank you very much, appreciate that. I'm going to bring Caitlin up to the screen here. She's just going to go over the last update regarding chop check bogs and a grant opportunity we have coming up for wetland restoration. So I'll hand it over to Kate.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin.
Hello. So the Mashpee Conservation Department is seeking funds to restore the Chopchat Cranberry Bog to a freshwater wetland through the Massachusetts Department of Fish and Game's In Lieu Fee program. The In Lieu Fee program provides funding for aquatic restoration, enhancement, and preservation projects with high likelihood of success and long-term sustainability. Cranberry Bog restoration is listed as one of their eligible projects. The availability of the programs allows permittees with Army Corps approval to make a monetary payment in compensation for projects impacts to aquatic resources of the U.S. and Mass in lieu of on-site mitigation. So the Department of Fish and Game assumes responsibility for this required mitigation by making the funds available for approved mitigation projects, i.e. this Chopchat Bog Cranberry restoration. An on-site occurred on Monday, October 5th, where the Department of Fish and Game Aquatic Mitigation Specialist, the Army Corps Project Manager for the In Lieu Fee Program Bank, and the Army Corps Mitigation Project Manager met on-site to go over the proposed project. We were working on submitting the project prospectus and overview due on October 16th. They expect to review the projects in November, December, and make decisions by the end of January. We will continue to update the commission as the application process progresses. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the commissioners?
Nope, none here.
No.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
That was Kate's 2 minutes of fame. All right, that's all we have for the agenda tonight. So, Tom, if you want to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Before we do that, can we have discussion? Is there open discussion? Mr. Chairman?
I thought we had tabled the discussion to the next meeting about what we had discussed doing.
Yeah, I know that usually on the agenda we do leave for open discussion that aren't on the agenda for the chairperson.
There is an agenda placeholder for any items to be discussed. So yes, that is on there, yes.
Okay, so let's hear what we have to say.
Okay, so my discussion, last time I did reiterate the fact that the commission, we should be following Robert's Rules of Order. So just a recommendation for our next agenda, before we get into our hearings, some of these important issues, I think we should leave housekeeping as one of the first items. We did receive meeting minutes from April 9th, May 5th, and September 24th. So if we can do housekeeping with, the first order of business should be motioning to vote and accept the agenda. That should be a common practice that we should always do, is accept the agenda as a commission to take that formal vote for, recording purposes and for meeting minute, obviously recording in that aspect as well. And then also moving into the meeting minutes, I think that this business should be done before we get any kind of update, before we go into any of our hearings. And that's just a recommendation that I'd like to see added on the next agenda so we can approve these meeting minutes and start getting back on track.
Just to address that, Brian, the only reason we had all the meeting minutes were all caught up. Katrina has submitted them to us. They've been reviewed. I don't know if they've been sent out to the commissioners yet. If not, they will be soon. The reason they weren't placed on tonight's agenda is because we do not have a quorum. Every set of meeting minutes has a particular list of commissioners who attended those meetings, and the attendees tonight, including Chad earlier, because of the absence of Brad Sweet, who attended most of those meetings, and John Schwartzbaugh, who was not able to attend tonight's meeting, you can't approve those minutes without the quorum of attendees at those meetings. So that's the reason why the minutes were not presented tonight. I'm hoping that we'll have everybody attend the next meeting, and we will certainly encourage that before the next meeting so we can get those minutes reviewed and approved.
Okay, yeah, even if we just leave meetings as like a rolling item, and then, we can table them if everybody's not here or whatever else, but as long as they're, on the agenda, and we do have them to approve at the time and quorum allows, then, I'd like to see that happen. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Understood.
That's it.
Anything else from the commissioners?
Nope, I'm good.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Can we have a second?
Second, Brian.
Okay. Vote call.
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Great.
Good night.
Thank you, too.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank God.
Wayne, it's like, the thing was that Wayne was in the meeting in the beginning of the meeting. Did you see his name? His name was in the queue.
I